Veritas in tenebris. Lumen ad revelationem.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Obscure Testament. Today, we're diving into some of the scariest, most chilling incidents that have ever happened involving school buses, stories that blur the line between tragedy, mystery, and pure horror. These are not tales of fiction, but accounts that have terrified entire towns, left investigators baffled, and sparked ghostly legends that live on to this day. Imagine the innocence of children climbing aboard their yellow buses every morning, waving goodbye to their parents only for that routine trip to turn into a night where no one could ever forget. One of the most haunting stories took place in 1938 in Salt Lake City, Utah. A sudden snowstorm hit as a school bus carrying 39 students made its way down a narrow canyon road. The driver, Frank Loveland, tried to push through, but blinding snow and freezing winds made it impossible to see. The bus slid off the road and became stuck. For 2 days, no one knew what happened. The heater broke down and temperatures dropped below zero. The children huddled together for warmth, crying and praying as hours dragged on. By the time rescuers found them, 5 children and the driver were dead from the cold. Locals say that on winter nights, you can still see faint handprints on foggy bus windows near the canyon, as if the lost souls are still trying to find their way home. Then there's the horrifying story from 1987 in Alton, Texas. A school bus was crossing a narrow intersection when a speeding Coca-Cola truck slammed into its side. The impact sent the bus plunging into a deep, water-filled pit left behind by an old quarry. Within seconds, the bus sank beneath the surface, trapping students inside. 17 children drowned before help could arrive. The scene was chaos, parents screaming, divers pulling lifeless bodies from the murky water. For years afterward, people driving by that site claimed to hear the sound of children laughing faintly at dusk, followed by splashes, as though the tragedy were repeating itself in a ghostly loop. In 1976, a quiet rural community in Chowchilla, California, faced a night where no parent could ever imagine. A school bus carrying 26 children and their driver was hijacked by 3 armed men wearing stockings over their faces. The kidnappers forced the group into 2 vans and drove them for 11 hours before burying them alive inside a moving truck in a quarry. The children were terrified but refused to give up. After 16 hours underground, the driver and several older students managed to dig their way out, saving everyone. The kidnappers were later caught, but the scars of that day never left those children. Many grew up with recurring nightmares, terrified of closed spaces or the sound of engines starting. Even now, the Chowchilla kidnapping stands as one of the most terrifying true stories involving a school bus in American history. In another chilling case from Florida, a school bus broke down on a remote dirt road in the late 1950s. The driver left to get help, leaving the children behind. When he returned hours later, the bus was empty. Search teams combed the area for days. No footprints, no signs of a struggle, not even the children's belongings were found. The bus itself was perfectly intact. Some locals claimed to have seen a white mist moving through the woods that night. To this day, the missing children have never been found. The bus was eventually towed away and scrapped. But truckers driving that same route decades later say they sometimes spot the ghostly outline of a bus idling by the roadside, lights flickering, but no one inside. Another terrifying event took place in Kentucky, 1958, what became known as the Prestonsburg bus disaster. A school bus carrying 48 students went off a bridge into the Big Sandy River after a collision with a wrecker truck. The freezing river swallowed the bus, and rescue operations were hindered by strong currents and poor visibility. 26 children and the driver drowned. For years after the tragedy, townspeople swore they saw children standing by the bridge late at night, waving, soaked and silent, vanishing when anyone approached. The tragedy marked one of the deadliest school bus accidents in U.S. history. Then there's the bizarre story from San Antonio, Texas, about a railroad crossing that became infamous for its ghostly encounters. Legend says that in the 1930s, a school bus full of children stalled on the tracks and was struck by a train, killing everyone inside. Today, if you stop your car on those same tracks and leave it in neutral, locals claim invisible hands will push it to safety. People have sprinkled baby powder on their bumpers and swear they've seen tiny handprints afterward, as though ghostly children were still protecting others from suffering the same fate. Though skeptics later argued the road's incline causes the illusion, the legend of the ghost pushers remains one of Texas's eeriest tales. And finally, there's the tragic yet deeply unsettling incident from 2016 in Chattanooga, Tennessee. A driver lost control of a bus filled with elementary students, slamming into a tree. 6 children died. Investigators discovered the driver was speeding down a curvy road while allegedly using his phone. But what truly haunts parents and rescuers isn't just the crash, it's what survivors described afterward. Several children claimed they saw a dark figure standing at the front of the bus seconds before impact, a shadow that disappeared in an instant. Whether it was trauma or something supernatural, no one can say for sure. These stories remind us how fragile life can be, how everyday routines can suddenly turn into moments of terror that echo for generations. The sight of a school bus should bring comfort, not fear. But in these cases, it became a vessel of tragedy, mystery, and the unexplained. Thank you for watching Obscure Testament. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more terrifying stories from the shadows.